Every night, after the city fell silent, Arjun would sit by the window of his small apartment and stare at the glowing skyline. Somewhere beyond those buildings, he imagined his future, a version of himself where he finally looked in the mirror and felt proud, a life where his name actually meant something to the people around him. But every morning, the same internal friction stopped him. He lacked the necessary capital. He needed more confidence. Failure would hurt, and people might laugh. He waited through birthdays and New Year's. He watched from the sidelines as others started businesses, moved to new cities, failed, and recovered. While his peers grew through the messy reality of trial and error, Arjun remained perfectly static. This chart tracks the deferral trap, plotting time against perceived readiness. We assume passing time naturally makes us more prepared. In reality, waiting yields no growth, resulting in a widening gap between our current reality and our potential. Each day spent waiting adds another layer of dust to a dream. Arjun was choosing a life of observation, allowing the calendar to move while he remained frozen. A phone call from his father interrupted the cycle. His dad had been cleaning out some old boxes and found a notebook from Arjun's childhood, one filled with messy handwriting about speaking on stages and inspiring thousands of people. Arjun laughed it off as childish, but his father called it the most honest thing he'd ever written. On one page, a younger version of Arjun had scribbled a single, defiant sentence: "I don't want to live a small life just because I am afraid." Those words stripped away his excuses. The lack of money and the lack of confidence suddenly looked like what they were: comfortable hiding spots. The notebook remained open on his lap, a physical reminder of a decade spent standing still. The next morning, he picked up his phone. His hands shook as he hit the record button. His voice cracked, and he looked visibly nervous, but he posted a raw 2-minute video anyway. The internal relief of finally moving was met with immediate external friction. Within an hour, comments appeared calling the video cringe and mocking him for trying to be a motivator. His old inner voice returned to the harsh, necessary reality of being a beginner. Just as he was about to delete the video, a single message arrived from a stranger. They wrote that they had been about to give up that day, and the video helped them get out of bed. That one person was enough. This microscopic piece of positive feedback provided the psychological weight needed to counteract the aggregate negativity of the trolls. He didn't stop. He spent the next several months in a cycle of messy repetition. His 10th video featured better lighting. His 30th video showed a more stable voice. He kept going through the days when no one watched and the days when he hated the sound of his own words. This feedback loop illustrates action-induced desensitization. By increasing the volume of output, the brain begins to normalize the stress of the activity. As the paralyzing fear shrank through exposure, his confidence grew. The more he spoke, the more his voice found its natural strength. Long-term endurance is built in these quiet, incremental moments. Success relies on finding just enough microscopic validation to survive the initial friction of being bad at something. Months of that grind eventually led to a college auditorium. Hundreds of students sat in the dim light, waiting for the person whose name was printed on the banner. Backstage, Arjun's hands were cold and his heart was hammering. The biological markers of fear were exactly the same as they were on that first morning in his room, but he no longer interpreted them as a reason to run. He walked onto the stage and told the audience that he had wasted years waiting for the right moment. He admitted his biggest mistake was assuming he needed to be brave before he could begin. This is the confidence inversion. We are taught that confidence is a prerequisite, that you need it before you act. But the science of achievement shows it is a byproduct. Bravery follows the action, and confidence follows the bravery. The hall was silent until he finished. Then the room erupted. That night, he called his father to share the moment. His dad listened to the tremor of excitement in Arjun's voice and reminded him that the potential had been there all along. Arjun looked out at the skyline again. The city was still loud and the world was still indifferent, but he had finally stopped asking for permission to exist within it. He simply began. From that day on, he only ever asked one question: what can I begin today?